Yeah, that's me. Um, I'm Anja. Downstairs, Sean the harp is in his harp bag. Outside of his harp bag, we're in Arksey. Together, we are the flouting harper, and today is day 54 from here to Jerusalem. 54 days. So we have less than a week, and then we'll be on the road for 2 months. I can't believe it. Like, I can't actually believe it, but it's really true. It is really happening. Arksey. Now, Arksey is just beyond Bentley. Well, at the moment, we're walking the Transpennine Trail, or better, I am walking the Transpennine Trail, and Sean the Harp snugly sits on my back. 2 days ago, I woke up in, I have this written down in Montrum. I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning. And Montrum uh, was just before Broadbottom. I love these names, like they're so good. And we were going to head for the Peak District that day. And I was in a Premier Inn with a McDonald's next door. And I was very, very tempted to go get some McDonald's. And I didn't because, listen, I've already been eating fries left, right, and center. So I can do I can do without the things. Maybe I should open this window a little bit. Can I open this window? I should. I should. I should. Can I open it like that? Okay. Okay, I'll do it like this. Will that work? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe I shouldn't. It's just that there is a bit of wildlife. Am I seeing this okay? Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So that should work, right? So what from it was? Am I now completely? Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so yeah, and I was worried about the weather because there was rain predicted, and I was getting I was getting again in my head about everything that could go wrong, and I decided to just let it go. I got on the road pretty early. I think I was out of there. I was out of there pretty early, if I remember correctly. And I wasn't late anyway. Was it 7 or 8? Something like that. Um, and I walked out. Now, this place was like really on a very busy road. It was a very, very busy road. And I was going to go get some food and then decided against that as well. I thought I'd maybe have breakfast later on, and I thought just get going, and the sooner you get going, the better it is. So Montreal is really, really. I don't know. Like once I got on the east side of Manchester, it got kind of weird. Oh, did you see here my handiwork? So I was having like holes in my dress, and I've been mending them. I don't know if you can see it, and here as well. So I've been trying to sew, mend the holes because I don't want to wear another dress. I just want to keep wearing this dress. Um, so I've been mending it. I'm gonna go massage my toes and stuff because my feet they're okay. And look what I got. Have a smell of that. I've been really good. It actually smells really, really nice. I've been very good. I have been smelling all the roses. I've not been sitting on all the benches, but I've definitely been smelling all the roses. And the dog roses are out now, and the wild roses are out now. They're hanging everywhere, and it's really, really nice. And I'm smelling them. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so Mortram, I left there. Now, the day before in Stockport, I was in a place which I said was an Italian place, and it was the Tiamo in Stockport, where I had the really nice lemon cake. Actually, all I got of that was like a photograph of a photo, photograph of the empty plates. That's how nice it, that's how nice the lemon cake was. Now I had decided that I had enough nuts and all kinds of stuff to make it through the day. Um, I knew that later on I would come across some other stores and shops and stuff, so I thought I'd take my chances and just set off. Um, so my first aim was Broadbottom, and uh, it was kind of an odd walk. You should go through a park, and then you cross a road, and then you go through another park, and then another park, and it feels like you come out of like a council estate, and then you go into another council estate, and then you come through. Oh, hello there, clocks, and then you come to another town. Like it didn't feel like they were disconnected; they were actually connected, and it was like really lovely. And Broadbottom had, like, I had marked it on the map as a place where I might be in touch with the church. Like, there's a very active referent there with a church hall that is very active. And I thought maybe I could do something there. But then in the end, I decided against it. They also have a forest feed school, so kids being educated outside, and I was interested in that as well. But there's no real teaching at the moment there, or only in the afternoon, so it was too early. Now there is the Broadbottom Viaduct, which I wanted to see, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, I lost my way. Like I couldn't see the way markers, and it ended up that I could have gone through another park. But I didn't. I was along the road. So what I need to keep in mind with the Transpennine Trail, you have to keep in mind that some of the bits are just for walkers, and then the other bits are for cyclists and horse riders. Now you can do the whole Transpennine Way on horseback as well. There's provisions for that. I don't know how that works with actually putting the horses in stables and all that kind of stuff, but the trail is specifically for walkers, riders, and cyclists. So I lost the walking bit, and I ended up over the road, and then the signage is much longer. Yeah, it takes much longer before you see the next sign, and I'd forgotten about that, and so I was navigating by the phone now. Also, because now I'm roaming, uh, I had a lot of notifications that were coming in on my phone, and they were taking up a lot of space and a lot of energy. I have Wi-Fi off all the time now so that it's not looking for Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is far between actually at the moment. A lot of places don't have Wi-Fi or very little Wi-Fi. So Broadbottom. I had also seen that Limefield Garden Centre used to have pitches. Yeah, they don't do it anymore. There's also Stockport is known for through the Industrial Revolution for the making of cloth like silk, and later on also cotton. So there is a shop in the Limefield area of Broadbottom that I wanted to see, but the shop was closed. It wasn't open on Monday. Um, so that was a bit of a bummer. But the garden center was, and in the garden center, they also have a tea shop. I I didn't get McDonald's, and I didn't really have dinner because I arrived quite late the evening before because I went on a little bit further than I had intended initially, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go make it to Barnsley because if I can, if, oh no, no, so I was thinking I would go to, I was heading for the day, I was thinking I would go to Crowden. Crowden sits between the reservoirs, before the Peak District. So that was where I was aiming. I thought, I've got time. So what I'll do is I'll go get breakfast, right? And I asked the girl what would she choose, and either it was between the full breakfast, or there was something with, there was another good one. I was so hungry, so I took the full breakfast, like black pudding, white pudding, and in the Landfield Garden Centre they also have, like, they actually have, if you have the money, like, you gotta go there, because they have like butcher and like all the traditional lovely. There was some lovely stuff there, farm shop. So I had a chat with the girls there, and I asked could I charge my phone, and that was okay. And it was really nice. The space is really nice, really airy. This lovely pottery. Like, call me a snob, but I'm not great one for porcelain. But like nice pottery, the colors are beautiful. I just like, yeah, this is good. I like this. So after that, I went to see. I walked on. I spent quite a while there, at least an hour in there. And then on my way out, I met a woman, and she was with a lady whose daughter played harp. So we had a little chat. But like, I'm finding it hard at the moment to stand around still with the harp. So I kind of went like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Like, I gotta start walking. And I went to see the Broadbottom Viaduct. Now, the Broadbottom Viaduct is like, there's loads of these structures around this part of the world. Um, because, of course, the English pride themselves in their railway system. So there is railway viaduct everywhere. And the Broadbottom one, I don't remember what it is known for exactly again, but it's like, they make these structures, they're so big. Like, I'm not necessarily a railway enthusiast, so it's a bit wasted on me, but like, it's impressive, these really high columns. And I saw it as well coming into Stockport, like the architecture, they put buildings underneath it, and it's really high. And I was looking at those columns and like the metal work. It's just, you can only imagine what it must have done to people at that time, in the 19th century, for people seeing this going up. I think they broadened it later on, but it's well worth. I made some photographs of it. If only I could appreciate it more, right? So you walk underneath the viaduct anyway. That bit is just for walkers. This is what I figured out. Like, I've been thinking about this. So it's just for walkers. You walk along this lovely road, and then you come up to a cul-de-sac, and it goes into like a little tiny little lane. You couldn't cycle it. You can only walk it, and then you end up in the fields. And suddenly, after a day of like the day before, I was just on railway tracks for the day, and suddenly you're out in the fields, and there's horses everywhere and buttercups everywhere, and there was this beautiful pony that was showing off, and I really enjoyed it. It was the skies were quite dramatic, and it was really nice. So where do we end up then? So from Broad Bottom, you have like this area, and you head towards Tin Whistle. And from Tin Whistle, you go up. I don't know, like Tin Whistle, the place just underneath it. So you don't actually make it to Glossop. It looks like you're going to Glossop, but you end up going to Tin Whistle, and not Tin Whistle, but Tin Whistle. Um, and you end up at the reservoirs. So there is like 5 reservoirs, and they go higher each time. And as I'm walking towards the reservoir, I'm kind of, the houses on that side, it's all brick. And it's not like you have to be into it. Like it's a kind of industrial era, kind of, and it all looks the same. It's not really my thing. I like brick houses, I do, but I just, let me put it this way: pretty is different. Um, it has nothing. It had nothing of the. Was a broad bottom was very charming, and then you come to tin whistle, and you kind of go like, okay, okay. But I'm sticking my nose into flowers and stuff along the way. English people and their gardens are amazing. So there was lots of roses to stick my nose in. I had no bees to contend with, so that was all good. And then the reservoirs, and I meet this woman called Helen with her dog Kim, and we're chatting away, and she's like plot away that I'm carrying a harp, and she's going like, "Can I see the harp?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, really? Like, okay, okay, like yes, it's part of what I do, right? It's part of what I do." Um, when people ask, I have to. So I say, yeah, okay, let's walk up together, and we're chatting away, and she's telling me that she's taken some time off work. She needed a bit of a rest. She'd had enough, um, and in the meantime, like those reservoirs are impressive, yeah. And there's all this like to pressure, and it's coming down, and like engineering. Again, if only I could appreciate it properly, because I know I don't. Like I look at it and I go like, yeah, okay. What I noticed as well is that along the railway tracks, there is a lot of visual art. Like I saw all kinds of statues out of wood and stuff. I like I like architecture out of certain eras and stuff, but a lot of it is really wasted on me. I don't know. I thought I was way more interested, but apparently I'm not. But the engineering, I kind of go like, oh yeah, but then I don't want to find out the ins and outs of it. Like if I could see like the stuff underneath it, I'd probably be happier. But we walk up the first reservoir, and it's not that high, and it's like there's a lot of water everywhere. Like the water falls through and then it comes out, and I do know about water that the more it moves, the cleaner it is. Like the more movement, the better it is. So in all these reservoirs, five of them, and so they come down in stages, and in the end, there's like this pressure thing, and if it is really full, it just goes. It has this big fountain in the middle, and it's like round, and then you get stepwise. It goes over stepwise stuff as well. So it's really clever, yeah. It's really, really clever, and you can walk on both sides. Now, I did notice that there was very little litter there, which was really nice to see. As we come up to the second reservoir, there's a woman on a bench, together with a woman that Helen seems to know. And the woman on the bench tells me that she is there because she was sent home. She's sitting there with a plastic bag, and she says, "This is what I'm carrying around," and it is her pee bag. And I said, "Okay, so how sick are you?" And she says, "It's terminal. They sent her home. They told her she's got 3 weeks to live." And then her son shows up with this gorgeous German Shepherd. Like, and there's dogs everywhere. And Helen is walking with her dog Kim, and like every dog walker, I don't know, she's going like, Kim doesn't like other dogs, but the dog is actually fine. And so I'm talking away to this woman who has just heard, who is like sent away from a hospital with terminal ovarian cancer, and has been told that she's got 3 weeks, and her son is there, and the son goes and picks up the car, and I said to Helen, "This is the time to have your lunch," like, and then I play her the wrong song. I couldn't believe it. Like I kind of felt it, and then I wanted to change it, and then she needed to go. I wanted to make it right for her. And then she gave me a kiss and a hug, and she said, you did it from the heart. And I felt like I let her down. Um, and I had the feeling like I wasn't connected properly into the journey and into what I was doing. And I don't know. I don't know. It was a really, really weird situation. Helen had her lunch. I don't think she noticed anything. Helen was a hoot. Like, she was really funny. I was getting on with her all right. And she's asking me questions and we're talking away, and it's all nice and fine and wonderful. And the skies are like wild and the wind is blowing, and this dog is hilarious. Like, it's like rolling, like you've got these steep inclines, like these dikes where one goes down and this dog just lies in the grass and goes like, rubs itself on its back and then slides down. And we come to the top of the second reservoir, and then she says she's going to turn around. At Crowden campsite is just one more up, one reservoir up, and then all I have to do is go across. So I started walking, and we say goodbye. And I said to her, "Listen, if you want to come and walk for another day, come and look me up. I wouldn't mind, because we got on really well. Like, I kind of enjoyed her company." So she said she would, and lo and behold, I got a message from her yesterday saying, she wouldn't mind. When would I be in Hall, and she wouldn't mind coming to talk with me. I think I would like that. I think I would enjoy her company. Um, so I went on alone anyway. There wasn't much walker wise. Like, I met two men where the TPT, the Trans-Pennine Trail, crosses with the Pennine Trail. I met two people walking. One I had a chat with, and the other one I didn't. And then there were some cyclists. Now, of course, it was Monday morning, so I don't know what I was expecting, but there wasn't much in the way of people traveling not my way. Like, and I know that I don't go that fast, so people should be able to catch up with me. Uh, but it wasn't raining. It wasn't raining. For all my fear of rain and that it would be horrible weather, it didn't transpire. There was a little bit, some spitting, spatting, and that was it. Um, and then you're back onto this old railway line that went through there, and on the other side of the reservoirs you can see the traffic in England is like, Ireland is bad, England is worse. And the thing is that the sound travels really well over water, so you can hear everything. Now, I really enjoyed the walk along the along the reservoirs. And as you go up, like Helen had said to me, at the top you can see that the reservoir is quite low, and you could really see it, and you can see then um, how the water discolors the sand and stuff. And I was wondering about things like pollution. It's been a lot in my head, what we've been doing to this planet, and how we tend to clean things up, but only on the outside. And I realized, this is also a mining area. Uh, so the tunnels, those railway lines. It's the railway line I was walking on is the railway line to Sheffield, Manchester, Sheffield, and of course, like, that's where the coal came from. There's a lot of pollution. That's, all those parks. The lush green sits on top of some of the soil is like, can't be great. Nature, though, this is the interesting thing. Nature doesn't give a hoot. Like, it doesn't care. It just goes, okay, that's what you did. I'll just crawl over it. And the birds still sing, and the plants still grow. They don't get as worked up about things as I do. And that's kind of being the thing in my head the whole time, like, oh, look at those birds. Oh, look at those flowers. Oh, look at those trees. There's a whole lot more oak here, and there's a whole lot more what is it? Oh, hazel. Hazel. There's a lot of hazel growing here as well. So Jerry the Stick is happy out, yeah, with all the hazel. Top of the reservoir. So come to the reservoirs where I need to take the turn, and I look up the the campsite, and it's not accessible for me because I'm not part of the camper association here in England, and it would cost me 50 pounds to join them, like 48 pounds or something. And I'm thinking, no, I'll be out of here in less than 10 days. I'm not paying 50 pounds for something that I'm not going to use. So in a moment of sheer madness, I decide to walk on. So I start looking at places where I might be able to stay. And I can only find one place, Millhouse Green, a pub called the, I wrote it down, I'm getting good at this, uh, called the Millhouse Green, the Blacksmith Arms. Hint, must be mining country, right? Blacksmith Arms. Um, and in my insanity, I decide to walk on. It's another, at least another 8 miles, and I've already done over 10. And I'm thinking, go do it, like. So I do. I just do. When you come from the reservoirs, then the road goes on. It goes straight on, and it runs into part of the Peak District. And there, the tunnels that they use, that they dug, there's 3 tunnels. Uh, 3 of them had tracks through them. Now the national grid goes through there. So all the electricity lines, like there is a station, electricity station just before it. You pass by it, and then you see these three tunnels. It's really impressive. It's really impressive, and when you read about it, like look it up, because it's well worth watching. So I'm standing there, I'm looking at the lights, I'm looking at not being able to go, and then I look up and I think, you thought to do another 8 months. Like, you're gonna do 30 kilometers and you've got like another 4 hours of daylight, and you're looking at a climb of at least 250, 300 meters. Darn, darn, no. What was I thinking? I climbed up there, yeah. Suddenly, no more railway lines. I look back, like the reservoirs are like a long and distant memory, and the sun is shining and shimmering on top of it. The light is going lower, and it is. I'm up there, and there is sheep, and there is kestrels, and there is all kinds of other birds that I haven't seen in forever, like these big black and white ones with these long beaks, and there's more sheep, and I'm in the oldest natural nature reserve in England, you know, stopped from any kind of stuff since the 1950s, and there is a path through there, and you just walk there, and all I can hear is those kestrels screaming at me, going like, get off our land. And these lambs looking at me going like, what are you doing here? And I'm on my own, and all I hear is like the road in the distance, and the wind coming over those hills, and the sky is full of drama and clouds, and the sun is getting lower, and the light is stunning, and I'm going, if it weren't for that traffic, it would be just perfect. If only the traffic would stop making so much noise. But then the wind turns, and then you don't hear it, and then it is just perfect. It was amazing. And there's me and the sheep and the kestrels and the birds, and the greenery, and I make it over the first one, and then you have to cross the road, and then you go on to the other side, and you come through like some I assume it's mining cottages and stuff. And then you have to cross the road again, and then you're back on the road. And when you come to now, that is where I got a bit of a problem. Like my knee, because I'd been walking for so long. Like what you need to do when you come down, especially with extra weight on your back, you need to keep the knees kind of flexed. You know, you need to bend them a little bit and then come down. And because I had really pain in my feet, my knees started to lock, and I'm coming down, and the knees are locked, and I banged them about a little bit, and probably a little bit too much. So this knee here, fine. This knee here, a little bit swollen. But I make it down, and then when you come to the bottom of it, you come to the Don River. Now, the Don River, you're going to follow it for a while. Now, the National Grid at the start of the Don River is taking out 7 pylons. And it is really, 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 yeah. And that's around the Hazelhead area. They're taking out 7 pylons and putting all the electricity underground. And it's a really, really good thing. It's a great initiative because it'll make the landscape look way less spoiled. Like it becomes more unspoiled. So I got through there as well. It's again over a railway line next to the River Don. The River Don doesn't look that impressive there. Yeah, but it's still in the early stages. So the River Don is a very, very old river in England. It's been flowing for a few million years, and it has a long, long, big, big history as far back as the mammoths and all kinds of other beautiful things. The Romans built along the River Don, and it's Yorkshire. Yeah, people here, the accent is just like, it is so cute, like, it is, I'm sure it's not meant that way, but I don't know, I'd find it really cute. I could get into it. So then finally, and then as I'm going through Hazelhead, there's this woman on a horse, and she passes me by the first time, and the horse sees my pack, and of course gets a little bit nervous, and she slows down, and we go by. I said hello, hello, and she says, "Is it far to go?" And I said, "No, not that far anymore." And then she comes back, and she says, "I really hope you don't have far to go." And then she comes back again, and I say to the horse, "Listen, you've seen me 3 times now. You got to chill out a little bit." She goes, "I really hope you don't have far to go." Now along that stretch, there was again like woodwork done. I don't know, like, yeah, I like nature. I like nature. I don't need the wood sculptures, but it's entertainment, I suppose, with kids. So then I come to Millhouse Green, and I find the blacksmith. Now I tried to call, but nobody would answer the phone, and I thought, you know what, they're probably busy, but like I can barely walk anymore by the end of it, like with my 20-kilo back. I'm like, and the last hour, all I can think about is that is there a way to get stuff out of my bag, like just to make it lighter? Like, what can I do to make it lighter? And then suddenly I am there, and I walk through the door, and I play a few tunes. She has a room. She goes, "Did you call from an Irish number?" Yes, I did. And I did. I was very good. I did keep smelling the roses, and I did try to sit down on more benches, but I still, it was a little bit too much. Like, it definitely, I don't. I could kick myself. I said I would not walk 19 miles, and 19 miles is basically 29.2 kilometers. I said I would not go over 25, and there I am. And it's just, there's a reason why I don't want to do it, because it hurts. It really hurts. My poor old body can't do it anymore. But I did it. I did, and then I go and do it anyway. So there I am, with all my good behavior, and I stay there for the night. We have a good discussion in there. It was interesting. I wasn't saying that much, But this guy, like, he got stuck into me, and he's telling me that Boris Johnson is a great politician, and the best thing that the Queen has ever done is given the world, what is it, the Commonwealth. And I'm thinking, just don't don't get into it, like, you not get into it, because you could be there forever. And there was a girl there. She was traveling. Basically, she was in an unhappy relationship, in an unhappy job, quit her job and put money aside, and she's driving around the country. She dropped pins on the map about things that she thought was interesting, and she's now driving around. And of course, she would like, and why are you doing what you're doing? And I'm kind of thinking, yeah, this is for me personally. Yeah, no, the walking is a big thing. It makes me feel much better, and it really teaches me about my boundaries, how far and how much I can and how much I can carry. And I still go too fast. Like, I still, especially on a day like 30 kilometers, there's stuff I miss. And it's a good thing I've got my phone with me, that I stop and take those photographs, because it gives me the time to actually look and see around me. Yeah, I really do that. I really do want to go slower even than I'm going. Oh, I do, and I don't, like, because once I walk, I'm really happy walking. Anyway, they give me a room. Yeah, uh, we have a few pints, very nice, and then I sleep, but I don't sleep too well. I have a shower. I have to be out of there, and by 10 o'clock. So by 10 o'clock, I walk out of the door. 9, quarter to 10, I'm out of the door, and I'm still tired, because the hyper awareness has set in now after 50 something, and then I'm on day 53. Um, Hyper awareness has set in, and it basically means for me that anything, I hear everything. And so everything wakes me. When the sun comes up, it wakes me. When somebody coughs, it wakes me. I was and outside of the rooms there was like some extractor fan from some factory, and every time that extractor fan went on, it woke me up. Like, it's a bit of a pain in the hole. I got a few hours in. It's nobody's fault. It's just what the body does. Like, uh, yeah, just hyper aware all the time. So in the morning, I get up. I talk to my friend Tina. I suddenly felt like I wanted to talk to somebody familiar, because I heard something very, very sad there the other day. Is that one of my neighbors died unexpectedly, and yeah, it made me think for a second. Should I go home? But of course I can't go home. Like, this thing about getting on a bus is now really done. But I just wanted to go home and be there with them. And I'm not that great with attending funerals and stuff, but in this case I felt that I should, and I feel bad that I can't. So I had a chat with her about that, and then I got back onto my old railway line and walked along the River Don, which was still not very impressive, but the railway line was really nice. Uh, you know, Railway lines are really easy to walk. The only thing I think is the thing that I find strange about it sometimes is that, you've got the banks on both sides, so you don't really see everything. But when you're high up, it's really, really nice. So, Millhouse Green is not that far from Penistone. So in Penistone, I met two walkers just before Penistone, and I asked them where the best coffee was, and they said, "How far have you walked?" And I said, "This is day 53 for me." And they were like, "You got to go to Julie's. It's not so much because the coffee is really good, but she does a really big breakfast." So I go in there and I order. Uh, I thought I didn't want to order another fry up. I didn't want to order another fry up. So I ordered um, a salad sandwich with cheese and chicken, And then I had chips and coffee. And with the coffee comes cookies. And like she makes massive portions. It's right next to the bicycle shop off the Transpennine Trail. It is just massive. Like it is. It made me think of the old trucker stops. Some of the guys in there as well. And I ate all of it. And I charged my phone again. Um, I ate all of it. All of it. It was great. It was great. And then I went on to walk. And walk, you walk, and you walk out of Penistone. Where do you go then? And I said to Julie, I said, because it actually is Julie, together with another lady, and she told me that they fry something like 127 eggs a day. That's a lot of eggs to fry. Um, then you come to Oxspring, and from there you leave the River Don, and then you come through Silkstone and Dodworth. You kind of skim through it. It was odd because from Oxton, you what is it? What's the first one? Over in Overspring. Like I don't know. Like it was again like this really not very well off neighborhood, and you're wandering through it, and then you end up in a park, and then it ends up being that railway line again, and then suddenly you are in what is it, in Dodworth, and you're it's I don't know. There's more tunnels that you come. I stopped in the Travelers Inn there and had another coffee. I don't know. It was all like I wanted to see other things, but I also needed a break after that really long day before. I didn't want to push too hard, and I was hoping that it wasn't going to go up and down. But of course, it did go up and down. What was I thinking? Like it's never that easy. Well, it's just me wishful thinking. And then you're along the railway line again, but it was really pretty. It was goes through really nice. That's what I mean. Like when you're high up, like because the tunnels there were close as well. You can't get through them, and then you're on the banks. You're walking on the banks. And it's really pretty. Like the views are really nice. Um, and then I just kept on walking until I came to the bottom of Barnsley, and then I had to make a decision. So I decided I had a little bit of a panic thing. I thought, oh my God, I need to go find somewhere. And then when I started checking if there was like any rooms or any beds available, one, they were ridiculously expensive, and two, there weren't any. And I found like the Churchill Inn in Worms, what is it called? Uh, Wormswell. Um, and Wormswell is you have to cross like quite a big road. You come off the railway track, of the old railway track, and then you walk into town. And again, like there's like a bit of army there, and there was a kickboxing studio, and there were a lot of kickboxing people there with a lot of tattoos, and there was a fight broke out in the pub, which is the guy who used to be a kickboxer, and I think it was a O'Loughlin. Did he say O'Loughlin? I was sitting next to the church with this old geezer, and he was telling me, yeah, O'Loughlin, he owns the Churchill Inn. Now the Churchill Inn was closed because of shortage of staff. And then when they called, he said, no, they were booked out completely. And I didn't want to go into the pub where they had like an ambulance outside there because these kids were all beating each other up. And I'm sitting with the old guy outside of the church, and there's another guy, and he goes and checks with his wife, and he says, "No, the Churchill Inn, that's it." And then there's a Premier Inn, and it came up like as 164 euros a night. Um, so I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Like, and this old geezer is telling me about the mining. That when he was a kid, his dad used to take him down into the mines, and he didn't want to be a miner, so he wanted to do. He went into steelwork instead, but there was all kinds of stuff wrong with him. Like it was pretty hefty. So I'm sitting there, and my head is just spinning, and I'm having like a moment thinking, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" And then I went like, "What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna go in somewhere, and I'm gonna ask for help." It's like a Prince of Wales like Prince of Wales, but I'm thinking, no, I can't go into the Prince of Wales. And there is the O'Loughlin pub, and the ambulance is gone by now, and there's a Weatherspoons. So I walked into the Weatherspoons, and I went up to the bar, and I said to the woman, like, "Listen, I haven't been able to find anywhere to stay. Like the Churchill Inn is closed. I've called them. He says there's no space. And the only one I can find is a Premier Inn, and that seems to be really expensive." And she goes, "Oh, okay. Yeah, no." I said, any help, anything is like welcome." And then this woman gets up, and the only thing they could find was another Premier Inn, like 2 villages down. So she says, "Why don't you call them and just find out, like?" And this woman comes up and she goes like, "I've got a bus ticket here which I'm not going to use. There you go. You can use that to get there." Thinking, "Thank you." And then I say to the woman behind the bar, and while I'm trying to sort this out, "Can I have a cup of coffee?" And she goes like, "I'll give you a cup of coffee for free." So I get a cup of coffee for free. I get a bus ticket. Turns out I call the Premier Inn, yeah. Um, and your woman says, "I'll see now if there's any rooms available in the area." The closest by room was in Sheffield for 100 euros. And I was like, "Thank you very much. I'm not going to go to Sheffield." So I decided I would just have something to eat um, of their Witherspoon specials. What was I thinking? And they were very, very nice to me. And I went like, "Okay, now I need to get out of here because I just need to go find somewhere to stay, right?" And it's about 9 o'clock. So I walk out, and I go back I check out where I had stopped. There was a big field there, and I thought maybe I can sit there. And I think, okay, now we're not next to the River Don anymore. We're next to the River Dearne. And I think, okay, if I just walk on, I could see that there was a nature reserve a bit further on, and I'll just go until the nature reserve. You had to get under two bridges, two kind of bridgy tunnels, and it was getting darker, and I did not enjoy that at all. But you know what? I forget about it. Just do it. And then when I came to the nature reserve, yeah, there was like there was no street lights, no nothing, because it's a nature reserve. And then the road kind of splits, so I took the upper one. I thought there's more chance of people taking the lower one than the upper one. And when it got too dark, I just found a place with lots of grass away from the oak trees, because oak trees are renowned for having ticks. And I thought, okay, until at least the light goes up, I've got a place to stay. And I didn't hang my hammock because there wasn't enough light. But I slept in my beefy bag. It didn't rain. It was fine. I lay there. Oh, it was about 10 degrees as well, so it was actually really nice. I had my feet up on the harp, the starry night, and then a tiny bit of cloud in the morning, and then the first jogger. At 5 o'clock in the morning, this woman, I thought she was going to have a heart attack. Anyway, that was my cue. Like, I kind of dozed off then for a little bit. I think I actually slept for 4 hours. Now, one thing though, again, it's a nature reserve, yeah, and I could hear the geese call because it's all water. It's actually really pretty there, and then all I could hear, all I could hear was traffic. Now, after about 2 o'clock in the morning, it got a bit less, but I mean there was traffic there. You can hear it the whole time. Now and then this morning I got up so and at 6 o'clock, half six, I was out of there, and I thought, okay, I need to get to Bentley, which is about a 12-mile walk. Um, Hamilton, is the place called Hamilton or Harrelton? Yeah, you come past the Dearna Valley Nature Reserve, and then you just follow the Dearna, and it's really nice. But it's all the same. From there, it's more or less all the same until you come to the. But I can talk about that tomorrow. Um, I made it. I made it today to Bentley, and I knew I had a bed here, which is from a woman that Mary Leslie knows, and she's an ordained priest. So uh, yeah, I was really tired. I'm still really kind of knackered from that really long day in the Peak District. I feel really good. Like I feel really able. I'm looking forward to going off this island as well. I think I can be out of here in about 5 or 6 days. Um, Now, here in this area, there is quite a bit of Roman history as well. I believe that the house where I am in Arksey, is built on top of what used to be part of a Roman villa. The church that you've been hearing, it's actually not pointed east-west, but north-south. So really interesting. So I'm gonna ask a few more questions tomorrow. I might do a little bit of walking, or I might not do any walking, because maybe with that knee I should take it easy. The worst bit is done now. Selby will take me 2 days, and then I have at least another 2 days before the third day I can go. So I could be there in 5, 6 days. Yeah. There is nothing more than 12, 13 miles in any of those days. Um, Today, on the last stretch, I went for, I think it's called Millbrook Inn. I don't remember what it's called. I think it is. Um, there is like, we joined the River Don again anyway, and there is like this castle, and there is a viaduct again that is absolutely worth seeing. And the River Don is much bigger here. Like it is big. It is big and it's impressive. And I met this young man sitting on a bench, and we ended up having lunch together, Martin. And I asked him like at the end, we're just chatting away, and I said to him like, I really need to eat something. And we went in, and like it looked amazing. The soup wasn't great. It was supposed to be like cauliflower soup, but all I got out of it was like, peas like the yellow peas kind of. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. There was not much depth in it either, and you definitely, because of the spices, you couldn't taste the cauliflower at all. Okay, whatever. Like food was great, and then I had a pie as well. Then I forgot my pin. I couldn't remember my pin number, but I was so hungry. I was so hungry again. But I did good. I didn't drink. And Martin had a story to tell as well, but I'll tell you that tomorrow as well. Uh, so tomorrow will be a small day, either way. I'll keep smelling the roses. Isn't that beautiful? And yeah, today is the end of day 54 You've heard all my stories up to day 53. Sean the harp is downstairs. I feel like I should play you guys something pretty soon as well, because I keep showing him in his packet. In his packet, you never get to see him out of his pack. So I might have to get him out of his pack and actually let him do a bit of the storytelling as well. Thank you very much for being here with me. Of course, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. And yeah, my fundraiser is ongoing from here to um, Jerusalem on GoFundMe. That helps me when I've been outside for a little while and I might not be able to no, not be able for it, or if I get like pains in my knees that I can rest and just hang around for a little while. All of it helps, and I can't tell you how grateful I am um, for all the help that I've been getting already. It's today now again, I'm here with Margaret and John, and they're putting me up, and I was listening to her stories and they're amazing. Um, yeah, it's just, I love this. I love the walking, and I love this idea that, tomorrow or the day after, all I have to do is get up and get going again. And eventually, if I keep doing that, eventually I will get there. Um, I love the idea that I'm doing it with Sean, that he's always with me. I love that it's possible at all. I love that I feel that free, that I feel that it's possible to do these things, even though everything outside doesn't look like that at all. So for me, I'm in a really good space, and I would wish this for everybody and anybody. Now I'm gonna go sleep because it's been a long, long day. I replatted my hair and I deserve some sleep. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for helping me to get there. Thank you for hearing my stories. And I will see you again tomorrow. And sorry for the long, long run. Thank you. Good night. Good night.